Coming to you live from Ursprung Gymnasium on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. It's opening night. The Yellow Jacket men get ready to defend their OAC championship in the first game of the season. It's a non-conference matchup from a President's Athletic Conference foe tonight, the Bison of Bethany College. Tonight's contest brought to you by Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. By Papa John's Pizza in Berea, the official pizza provider of BW Athletics. You can call them at 440-891-1900 or go online at papajohns.com. And by the Oswald Company. They handle all of your insurance and risk management needs. I'm Brendan Gulick alongside Cole McDaniel, and welcome back to the hardcourt, man. A lot of fun. Certainly was a fun year last season. This team lost two very important pieces, but bring a whole important group back together. Now 8 seniors on BW's team, and they're ready to write their own chapter.
Yeah, Brendan, it's good to be with you, and it is huge for this team. We'll see what they can do as they start this year, but as you said, they ended last year in a great manner. Of course, getting that OAC championship win at Mount Union was huge, and a lot of the guys who are a part of that are on this roster.
How about winning 3 consecutive road games in the conference tournament to make it to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2006. Big day for the Yellow Jackets last year in late February. And so this team has 7 newcomers, 6 freshmen and a sophomore, but a lot of familiar names for Baldwin Wallace. And let's give you those starting lineups. Senior guard Michael Quiring has played an awful lot ever since he was a freshman. Quiring tonight will play in his 83rd contest as a Yellow Jacket. He gets the start at point guard, a young man out of Brunswick. Senior guard also from Brunswick, Zach Sabula. Zach has been part of the team for quite a while. Looking forward to his increased contributions here in his senior season. Out of Medina, a 6'2 guard, junior Luke Schaefer, who took a big step forward in his sophomore year last year. The team expecting big things from him this year. Senior forward out of Tuscarora Central Catholic, Tyler Colombo. He is certainly one of the premier leaders on this year's team. He'll play in the post. And freshman guard Anthony Mazzio, a young man out of Massillon Jackson High School, a state champion a couple years ago, the Stark County Player of the Year last year. He's one of the key pieces that the Yellow Jackets have added to this year's group.
Yeah, he is a key piece, and it's huge to always have freshman talent coming in and can join that group. I think another big thing is obviously you mentioned Michael Quiring out there, starting point guard. A lot of times you saw Jay battle was the primary ball handler. You saw Quiring playing off the ball a lot of times. This year it's going to be a little bit different. Quiring is going to have to handle the ball more than he did in the past couple years.
Give you Bethany starters in just a moment. They're in their green with the Jackets in the primarily white with gold numbers. James Duke, our referee, throws it up. The Bison tip it out of bounds, and it's going to go to BW. A.C. Sally and Ace Osborne also officiating this evening. For the Bethany College Bison, Dalton Hamrick, a junior guard from Elkins, West Virginia. Derek White, sophomore out of Portsmouth, Virginia. Nishawn Brown makes his first career start, a freshman guard. Over on the east side of Cleveland, went to Mayfield High School over in Wickliffe. Ty Colombo bobbles it in the post, gathers and scores over the top of Dylan Furlong, who went to Norwalk St. Paul. And Aiden Albert, a senior out of Saxonburg, PA, round out the starting lineup for Bethany, who is, by the way, playing in their third game of the season already. Bethany has already dropped a couple. One blowout loss to Susquehanna in the opener, 90-47. And they were just nipped earlier this past weekend by Penn State Altoona, 98-95. That's a heck of an improvement offensively from game 1 to 2 for them. They shot the three ball quite poorly in the opener, but much better, hitting double-digit threes second time around. Dalton Hamrick back to the corner. Albert pulls up and misfires.
And as you mentioned, Bethany having that huge advantage almost of having those two games already. You kind of get the game action, the game feel. So expect Bethany to come out quick and really have the feel for the regular season game action.
Colombo feeds Quiring. Drives from left to right. Up and under for two. 4-0 Jackets 1 minute in.
And that's a great take by Quiring. He saw the opportunity to drive to the lane, went to the right hand, and made it look pretty easy right there.
It's a Bethany team that doesn't particularly have high expectations externally to drive down the lane, but Furlong too much on it. They were picked dead last as Furlong runs Mazzio over. Picked dead last in the preseason poll in the President's Athletic Conference. They did not make the conference tournament last year, but head coach Nick Hager in his fourth year at Bethany certainly hoping that his team will exceed the outside noise. Colombo steps into a three ball. And it just fell off the right side of the rim. Let's see, the foul is on, I think it's on Luke Schaefer. Good pass underneath. Dalton Hamrick lays it in.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Bethany needed. They needed to get the basket and get comfortable because the Yellow Jackets came out on that early run.
Colombo fakes, drives down the baseline. Tyler hoping he can have a big night, off to a good start. A couple of early baskets for Ty. He's got 4.
And you mentioned the leadership of Tyler Colombo. A lot of the offense will run through him this season, and it's great to see him get some early baskets as well.
Mazzio lost his footing. White drives by him, but puts it wildly off the window. I think it's important these first few minutes for Mazzio to try to get his feet underneath him quickly. First career collegiate game. Oh, saved right to Schaefer. Boy, that was a bad break for Bethany College. Did not see the reason for the whistle there.
Yeah, and that's one of those where you saw that it was off of your own teammate, and it was off of him, and he tried to save it and toss it back. That's just where you need your teammates' help to get to the ball. Unfortunately for the Bison, it went straight to Schaefer and up and in for 2.
Luke Schaefer gets his first points of the season. Luke was a starter for most of the year last year, 22 games, played all 30 for BW, averaged just over 8 points per game, but a huge step forward after his freshman year. Furlong controls it and scores it.
Well, it's going to be important for Schaefer because really the team's playing with 4 true guards out there on the floor, so he's really going to have to act as the 4 as well as being a guard, so it's going to be important for Schaefer to have a good season and a good game tonight.
Jackets send 5 fresh faces to the scores table. Early in the season, I would imagine it's about trying to figure out what group, as Mazzio puts in a 3, his first career collegiate bucket, trying to figure out what group works best together. You have some opportunities to have scrimmages along the way, but you never really know until things get out on the floor for real. Nishawn Brown back up top. And a foul as Hamrick dribbled to his right. Clock's at 16:06. The Yellow Jacket subs on their way in. Let's see, Shane Zalba, young man from Menor High School, gets a chance to come out on the floor here. Matt Dimitrievs, who was a fantastic three-point shooter last year, he checks in. Jake Snyder, freshman guard out of Hoban High School. He's on the floor. Drew Sova and Alex Nara, the 2 big men who come in for the first time.
Well, and Dimitri is a guy who you mentioned as he's coming in. He actually had his career high last year against Bethany when they were playing in West Virginia. So he's familiar with this team, and he put up a lot of threes in that game.
Good move by Zalba, exploding down the left side of the lane there and went right to the rack. The Jackets have a good, comfortable early lead here. It's 13-4. Closing in on the 15-minute mark of the first half. Working it around, White driving, denied. Well done by Jake Snyder.
And the way the Yellow Jackets are playing as they initially come out and with the start, it's been pretty impressive. They've been efficient. They've ran the offense on that end of the floor, and then on the defensive end, a big block there, and they're just rotating well.
Carter Adams has come in for Bethany, sophomore out of Brockway, PA. He throws it in. Adams on the right side, bounces into the paint for Khalil Wilson. And he's got free throws coming. Yellow Jackets lead it by 9, 13-4 early in the game. And first foul shots of the season against Baldwin Wallace. I'm going to hit Alex Nara, his first personal, team first.
And Nara, a guy who will be important for this team, is not too many bigs on this team. So you see Sova and Nara coming off the bench, and they, along with Columba, are really going to be having to be the main 3 down on the low block.
Aiden Albert, good offensive rebound. I think the team is pretty hopeful that Alex Nara can give them meaningful contributions here this year after he has struggled to get on the floor over the last 2 seasons. Good defense. Sova pulls in the miss after Hamrick fires it over the rim entirely. Zalba had a great high school career. A lot of learning for him last year. Now he gets a chance to get on the floor more after Jay Battle graduated. Good drive through the lane. Tough try. Albert didn't get it to drop. Dimitrievs found his balance. Rhythm enough to shoot it, but off target.
And we mentioned it. He likes to shoot the threes, and against Bethany last year, he put 12 up and was able to make 6.
Fired underneath the basket. Dalton Hamrick running the baseline with it. New rule in college basketball this year that's in effect at the D3 level. When there is an offensive rebound, the shot clock only resets to 20, not 30. We've seen it once so far tonight. Good jumper there. And it's 13-6. 13:52 left in the half. Snyder got the friendly bounce.
And that's just a good jumper from in the lane. He went for the drive and then stopped and just knocked it down. Made it pretty easy.
Jackets lead it by 9 at 15-6. Ty Colombo leads the way with 4 points. BW almost exclusively a man-to-man defense team. Pretty rare situation that they would get out of a man. Adams gives it off. They've got to throw it up. Hamrick had it blocked and a shot clock violation. Good defense. Substitutions bringing Trent Uphold into the game for the first time. And Derek White back on the floor. Sounds like Trey Shiflett, the junior guard from York, Pennsylvania, who was one of Bethany's better players, is not available tonight, out with an injury. Dmitriev's tried to split the defense, lost it on the floor. Snyder picks it up, bounces back to Silva, dumps underneath the basket. Nara's in trouble. That's deflected out of bounds off the Bison.
Well, the one thing, too, Bethany doesn't have the most size on this team, so look for the Yellow Jackets to be putting it inside with Sova and Nara because they have a huge size advantage right now.
Dmitriev's step back. Oh, sweet move. And a bucket. Matt Dmitriev's nice little step back game. (17-6). Dmitriev's into the scorebook. Top of the arc, Uphold. Gives it away. This is a Wilson three. Misfire. Zulba. Back to Sova. And Drew's called for moving that pivot foot ever so little. That's a travel.
And that's one of those things you see oftentimes in the early games. You see it in all games a lot of times. A lot of throwing up shots, a lot of turnovers. It's one of those things where you start a season off and people have to get kind of readjusted to the game feel.
5 in, 5 out. It's the 5 starters back on the floor. Quiring, Sabula, Mazzio, Colombo, and Schaefer. First group went about 4 minutes. They rotated out. Next group about another 4 minutes. Starters back in there. Offensive putback. What an athletic play, Khalil Wilson. Well done. So it's a 9-point lead for BW. 17-8 under 12. Luke Schaefer, 4-3.
This is a great job by Schaefer. He saw that he was in the spot that he wanted and just pulled up and took it. And that's a great opportunity and a great make for him.
Uphold to his right. Yellow Jackets had big roles they needed to fill. Not just the scoring from Jay Battle, who was about a 14-point-per-game scorer in his career. And Michael Quiring fouls Carter Adams in the act of a 3-ball. But they also have to replace the emotional leadership provided by Kyle Nader. Kyle is an assistant coach for the team this year. He is on the bench and happy to be back with the team that he so very much loves being around. Adams free throw up and in. I don't know if I can remember a player in the last 10 years in particular at Baldwin Wallace that played harder than Kyle Nader. He was all out all the time.
He was such an energy guy, and it was a situation where whether it was getting the rebounds or throwing down a monstrous dunk or just on the defensive end, he was always coming out here giving his all. It was 100% every single game. So he's an important guy to have on the team, and especially have as just on the coaching staff over there so he can help be a mentor to the younger guys.
Credit to Carter Adams. He hits all 3 foul shots. And it's 20-11 with 11 minutes left in the first half. Schaefer's open. Luke creates his own shot with some good ball handling. And he puts it in. Good job by Luke Schaefer. He's having himself a nice evening. Quiring pokes it away from Adams. Race to the rack the other way. Quiring can't get it to roll in. But he'll get 2 foul shots out of it. Michael Quiring, last year, this was kind of his bugaboo. For whatever reason, and he knew it, he got off to a really bad start from the free throw line and was fighting an uphill battle all season long. It's been a huge point of emphasis for him as the offseason went along. He would love to put last year's struggles from the stripe in the rearview mirror. 61% free throw shooter last year.
And I think you get the whole stereotypical, oh, your guards are going to be the better free throw shooters, the bigs won't shoot as well. And that's kind of been different. Sometimes it holds true for some teams, but that's not always the case. Some guys are just better free throw shooters than others. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of work. So hopefully that's something Quiring has been working on hard in the offseason.
Well, it's part of his game he certainly has taken some pride in. And he hits 2 there after the miss. It's 24-11 BW, approaching the halfway point of the first half. Sabula raises, rainbow 3, doesn't fall. Deshaun Brown, high entry pass to Furlong. 1 foot, 1 hand shot, fading away, didn't go. Here come the Jackets. This is certainly the more veteran group in terms of the leadership from their guards. So you kind of expect this 5 right now to have a different feel to it. A little more poise. Good drive by Zach Sabula. Didn't get the harm, though. Bethany's been a little bit out of control with the ball offensively. Only 11 points in 10.5 minutes for the Bison. Albert. Go ahead.
And part of that, I think the Yellow Jackets are playing pretty well defensively and switching off well, and you see the communication.
This is Giannis Bakadimos, a young man from Greece, missing to the left. Oh, beautiful find. Way too easy for BW offensively. And a timeout called for by the Bison. It's a game-high 15-point lead, 26-11. 9 minutes left in the first quarter on BWYellowJackets.com. All right, out of the timeout, Bethany comes back out on the floor, trying to have a regrouped mindset here. And it's got to start in the defensive end. I know offensively they've had a couple of ugly shots that may be a little forced, but they've had enough good looks. Problem is they're not valuing the basketball, and Schaefer continues that point there. This is an easy open 3 for Zach Sabula. Mazzio grabs the miss. Quiring, Sabula, Schaefer, Colombo, and Mazzio. Starting 5 out there for Tom Hiles' Yellow Jackets. Tom in his 5th year as the head coach here at BW. Ty Colombo, long 2. Looks like that next group of Jackets is getting ready to sub in. Pass into the low post, some contact, but not enough for a foul against Wilson. Schaefer in the corner. Oh, sweet spin move, and then he denied at the rim. Big time block, Derek White.
Yeah, and that's a huge block from White there, as Schaefer made a great move.
See if Bethany can build off that defensive momentum. Albert, not quite. Good play by Quiring. He knew he couldn't pull it down. Instead, tipped it across. 7 minutes, 35 seconds left in this first half. BW leads by 15 points. Schaefer for 3, and he hits again. Good first half for Luke Schaefer, moving right along. A couple of 3 balls. The Jacket lead is 18.
And Luke Schaefer is definitely having himself a day, and if he can continue to keep this up, he'll put up big numbers.
Albert and company working left side. Albert in the corner. Only 5 on the shot clock here. Got to get moving for White. Oh, perfect find. Wilson finishes at the rim for 2.
You just had the cutter going down the lane, and that was a great bounce pass to find it. You've oftentimes seen Bethany so far. They've been really trying to force their passes, trying to go across court, and it's all been tipped and stolen. That one right there was pretty simple just with the bounce pass. That's exactly what they need to do to have success in the rest of this game.
Timeout on the floor. Jackets take a 30-second stoppage, up by 16. All right, 6:46 left in the half, and the Yellow Jackets out to a 29-13 advantage. If you're following along on the live stats along with us here online, it doesn't look like those are updating at the moment. We'll get those fixed for you as soon as we can. Matt Dimitriev's, it would have looked good if it went home, but too short, and he only drew air. Dimitriev's, Snyder, Zalba, Soba, and Nara, the 5 on the floor for Baldwin Wallace here. Nishan Brown, first career start tonight. Been a little flat-footed at times. Good effort from BW, scrambling around, gets the ball back. That's off Dimitriev's, you betcha.
And what you're just seeing from the Yellow Jackets is they're just hustling, and they're not afraid to get down and get the ball, and that's something that's you saw a lot last year, which is really they were just scrappy and they were able to pull it together, and especially in the OAC tournament, and we're seeing it again tonight, so hopefully they can continue that the rest of the season as well.
Banging around Craig Sowers for 2. 29-15 BW, 5:50 left in this first half. Snyder hesitates, kicks into the corner to a wide open Dimitriev's. Can't ring that one up. Soba grabs the offensive board. Snyder takes a turn at a 3. Jacket fans love it, 32-15.
That's well done by Snyder. He found the pass to Dimitriev's, and the Yellow Jackets, they got the board back, and Snyder quickly got out and got the wide open 3 and knocked it down, and that's just a good offensive set from Snyder there.
Excellent ball fake, opens a Hamrick 3. Well done, Dalton Hamrick.
And if anybody can heat up on this Bison team, it's Hamrick. He's averaging 18 points so far this season through the first 2 games.
Matt Dimitriev's. And that one actually got lodged between the backboard and the rim, so it is a jump ball, and it's back the other direction. It's 32-18 Baldwin Wallace at the 5:02 mark here in the first half. Along with Cole McDaniel, I'm Brendan Gulick. Your initial thoughts on what you've seen from BW so far?
I think they've done a great job at coming out and not really forcing too much. Sure, they've taken some quick shots, but they've really run the offense as well, and I think that's important.
Drew Sova fouled by Craig Sowers. You know, I think one of the things I most like about the beginning of the season is the opportunity when you know you're graduating guys like Battle and Nader, and you bring 7 new faces in, and you've got a lot of different pieces you're trying to fit together. I kind of like this 5 in, 5 out, essentially 4-minute stretches at a time. Just go out, focus on playing as well as you can for a few minutes, and then turn it over to the rest of your guys and see what they can do. Just like that. And the foul for Alex Nara. Well done.
Yeah, and you're trying to let guys see what they can do, and Nara just showed what he can do as he made a good move and went with the up and under and was able to flip it in and get the and one, and we'll see if he can knock it down.
Not able to score. Good effort on the rebound try from Zalba. Just soared over top of his fingertips. So it's 34-18. Hamrick cuts through the paint. He has been the best player so far for Bethany. Dalton Hamrick cuts it to 14. 34-20 at the 4:10 mark. Nara, good dribble, drive, and kick. Dimitriev's off the front of the rim. White wants to run it. Into the post, Sowers, ball fake, spins. The old Mike and drill, he couldn't put it in, but the offensive putback. Well done again, Dalton Hamrick. He was team's leading scorer the first couple games of the year. Off to a good start here. Hamrick, first-year player for Bethany.
And that's a great drive by Dimitrievs as he went down the in line and he was able to find Sova, and looked like Sova was going to be able to go up and just throw it down, but I was able to draw the foul, and now he steps to the line for 2 shots.
So Drew Sova, who is certainly the biggest and most physical Yellow Jackets player, stands at 6'8", continue to get stronger in the offseason. As Bethany calls timeout, Jackets are going to heavily rely on Drew Sova here in 2019-2020, no doubt. We'll step aside. 3:33 left in the first half. Jackets lead it by a baker's dozen on BWYellowJackets.com. Welcome back inside our continuing coverage of Yellow Jacket basketball. Opening night, so far so good. 35-22, BW out front with 3 minutes and 33 seconds left in this first half. Baldwin Wallace leads it by 13. They've led by as many as 18, Cole, getting contributions from lots of different guys. I think it's been a promising start to the year.
It has been, and I think that's one thing in the first game. You want to see a bunch of guys scoring. It's always important to get that main scorer who, if you really need to go to at the end of a game, you can look to that guy. But early in the season, it's great to establish a balanced scoring attack.
It's bobbled underneath and will stay on this end of the floor. Shot clock says 18 seconds. A couple of the other teams in the OAC have gotten started this year. Mount Union and Otterbein. Oh, what a play. Snyder. Oh, it almost fell in for him. Mount Union and Otterbein both won their opener. Northern and Wilmington 1-1. Heidelberg dropped their first game of the year, but it's fun to see basketball back. Free throw up and good for Snyder. That would have been a pretty impressive play had he put that home.
Well, he showed off his speed there and just not able to get to go down off the reverse, but he knocks down both free throws, which is pretty important for the freshman.
Snyder out of Archbishop Hoban High School down in the Akron area, a school that has been pretty well respected across all sports in the last 5 to 10 years in Division II OHSAA basketball and football. Football team in particular, they've won 4 straight state championships at the D2 level. Fake and drive. White kicks into the corner. 3 ball is too short. Came right back to Brown. Missed it off the side of the rim. Snyder with his eyes up the floor wanted to drive. Saw the opening for Sova there, and as Drew fell over, he kicked it out of play.
And that's just one where we've mentioned it before. Sova is the bigger guy out there. He's 6'8". You know, when you bounce it to him, it can't be super low and skipping at his knees. It's going to be hard for him to get down. That time it was, and unfortunately went out of bounds. But you do see the vision of the freshman Snyder, and he saw Sova there, just not able to execute.
Quiring stays on the bench. Snyder stays on the floor. The other 4 guys back in, all started the game. Mazzio, Sabula, Luke Schaefer, and Ty Colombo. Jackets lead is 16, 2:25 left in the first half. Aiden Albert pulls up, unfriendly bounce. Here comes Mazzio. Freshman sharpshooter into the corner. Snyder rhythm 3-ball. Couldn't hit. Dalton Hamrick has played well getting to the rim. Made a couple of good mid-range shots, but mostly it's been his driving ability that's caught our attention in the first half. Nishawn Brown cycles back up to the top. And a foul on Sabula, reaching around Craig Sowers. Again, if you're following on the live stats, we apologize. Those are lagging behind a little bit. The score and time on there is not accurate, but hopefully we'll catch up on that at the halftime break. It's 38-22 Baldwin Wallace with 1:45 left in the first half. That 3-point shot missed a little long, but look who cashes in, Dalton Hamrick.
And if the Bison want to get back in this game, it's really going to have to go through Hamrick. He's been the guy who's been able to get to the ball, get the rebounds, and put it back in as well.
Mazzio bounces to Colombo. Absolutely, and the foul. Clear-cut foul. He got shoved right in the middle of his back. And Ty Colombo will have a chance to make it a 3-point play.
You can't get the ball to go in the basket as smoothly as that. That's one of those where it barely even touched the net on the way down. Well done by Colombo to use his body as well down low and draw the foul.
Yeah, you want to talk about guys that have gotten stronger. Ty Colombo's always had a high motor, but when he came in as a freshman, he was long and lanky and lean. And while he still has that long, lanky frame, he has worked so hard in the weight room, and it's made a humongous difference for him. Into the corner, Schaefer sizes it up, and he hits! Luke Schaefer, 3 threes in the first half. The Baldwin Wallace lead is 20.
And going back to what you said about Colombo, it's a thing where the freshman year, Tyler Colombo probably would have struggled down on the low block playing the 5 like he has been starting. Again, that time in the weight room and just getting stronger, he's really developed and can now go down there and take care of that.
Jackets 44, Bison 24. Snyder commits the personal. It is a foul on the floor, not a shooting foul. It's close to being a shooting foul. 44-24 with 35.6 seconds left in this half. Dalton Hamrick circles around, tucks it underneath like a football, extends it, and scores a basket. Dalton Hamrick's had a great first half for the Bison. Shot clock is off here, and we'll see what kind of patience Jake Snyder can play with. High screen from Colombo, 10 seconds. Sabula to the rim, back to Colombo, 5 seconds. Tyler to a cutting Snyder, and he missed the layup. Oh, it was a great play. The shot does not get to the basket. Everything about the final sequence was great except for the finish.
Yeah, and I think, first of all, that's a great feed from Colombo. The other thing is Snyder, it was a great cut down the middle of the lane. I think he just tried to rush the shot because there was only a second left on the shot clock, really, and he tried to get it up, and he probably could have taken some more time on that layup. But, again, well done by the Yellow Jackets in that first half, and a big lead going into halftime.
44-26. They led by as many as 20 points. It's an 18-point margin at the break. 15-minute halftime. We'll roll the clock and come on back here in 15 minutes for second half coverage. It's the Yellow Jackets way out front of Bethany. Halftime here in Berea.
too hard for you guys. Can you guys split that one? Yeah. I want to make sure these guys. Hey, Josh.
Welcome back to Ursprung Gymnasium, where the Yellow Jackets have a 45-26 lead over Bethany College as we get ready to start the second half. Our coverage tonight is presented by Jimmy John's in Middleburg Heights. We're freaky fast, so your sandwich arrives freaky fresh. Call us at 440-625-0745, or you can order online at jimmyjohns.com. By Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. And by Crown Place in Middleburg Heights. If you're looking for a quality place to stay before or after any Yellow Jacket contest, we hope you choose the Crown Plaza. Along with Cole McDaniel, I'm Brendan Gulick. So far, so good for the Yellow Jackets. Luke Schaefer having himself a nice start to the first game of the season. He's got 3 triples. And the Yellow Jackets lead it by 18 points. They shot 52% in the first half. Ty Colombo on his way to the rim, and he is rejected by Craig Sowers. Cole, your overarching thoughts on maybe the Yellow Jacket defensive side of the ball. We touched on how they were able to move things around offensively just fine, but I was probably more impressed with what they did on this end.
Yeah, I think they've rotated well. I think they've communicated, and they haven't really given up any easy buckets. The big thing is not many people have scored for the Bison aside from Hamrick, so it'll be important in the second half to really make sure that Dalton Hamrick is not getting easy buckets.
Baldwin Wallace playing the first of 2 games this week. They'll have the Hiram College Terriers out of the NCAC in a Friday night contest, 7 o'clock, right here on this same floor. Bobbled under the basket, passed back up top. White goes over right side. Albert's 3, bangs away, no good. Anthony Mazzio. Acquiring into Colombo. Tyler lobs it over. Sabula spins through the paint. Back to Colombo. Fakes, drives, and lays it in.
And Colombo has that ability. He can shoot from outside. If he goes with the pump fake and gets a bigger guy to move out there, he can easily blow by and get to the hoop.
46-28. 3 ball. Good try from Dalton Hamrick, but not quite. Quiring saw the opening, goes under the basket. Michael Quiring, well done.
And Quiring, not the tallest guard, but he's not afraid of getting in to the paint, going in for the layups. We've seen it in the past years with him, and he continues to show that driving ability.
He's a gamer. Boy, that was a sweet spin move by Derek White Jr. They get back up the floor quickly the other way. Mazzio just got beat, so he tries to make up for it, and he does. Anthony Mazzio, +1.
And we talked about him before the game, and Mazzio, the freshman, just showed his ability there as he was able to take the contact and really be fading away and still make that basket despite being fouled big time.
Free throw's good, and the Yellow Jacket lead stretches to 21. 51-30, largest lead of the game with 17:42 remaining in regulation. Bethany College last year 5-20. They went 4-12 in President's Athletic Conference play. Of course, the Yellow Jackets coming off of an Ohio Athletic Conference tournament championship. 3 road games last year and 3 victories. Finishing the year 21-9, they went 11-7 in league play. They won tournament games at Wilmington by 3, at Capital by 14, and at Mount Union by 4. Got a foul on the floor. Then they opened up the NCAA tournament over in Oswego, New York. The sectional was hosted by Oswego State, and they beat the Seagulls from Salisbury College over in Salisbury, Maryland. Them 75-61, made it to the second round before bowing out in overtime to host Oswego State. And another foul on the floor. That one's on Sabula. Of course, the big news around D3 basketball this year is the change in the national championship weekend, which is going to be a ton of fun. They did this a few years ago and are doing it once more. Good jump shot from the baseline. Aiden Albert for 2. Division I, Division II, and Division III are all having the national championship held in Atlanta the same weekend. The D1 National Championship, Final Four for March Madness, will be played at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome where the Falcons play. 3-ball. Good. Mazzio did it again. But the Division II and Division III title games, as Schaefer makes a great steal. D2, D3 title games will be played where the Atlanta Hawks play. That'll be the day before the March Madness Final Four concludes. Colombo in the paint, passes away. Jacket lead is 22. Sabula into traffic. No foul.
And it's great, as you mentioned, to see all of those tournament games just being so close to each other, and especially in Atlanta. And Atlanta has been really showing up as a huge sports venue with the fan support. We've seen it with actually a team who just wrapped up their season recently on the soccer side, Atlanta, and Atlanta United. And really you see it through all the other sports too, and their fans show up. And as you mentioned with D1, it's going to be at Mercedes-Benz, and that is a great venue. Just
super cool.
A wonderful stadium there.
Yeah, it's a crazy, passionate sports town, no doubt. And hopefully they get good crowds for the D2 and D3 games. Now, that said, as Bethany inbounds on the baseline here, down 54-32. Good play by Craig Sowers. The tournament will change a little bit. Instead of having 4 teams together for the Sweet 16 rounds, where they would have Sweet 16 and Elite 8 action in the same weekend, as Tom Heil calls timeout. Drew Soba laid that one in. There are only going to be 2 teams sent to the Sweet 16 at 8 different locations. And what will happen is they'll get to an Elite 8 at Division III this year and send 8 teams to Fort Wayne, Indiana to play the Elite 8 games. The 4 winners will play in the Final Four. And those will be played over the course of a couple of days. They'll have the Reese's NABC All-Star Game, and then the national championship will actually come about 2 weeks later down in Atlanta. So it's sort of a bizarre layoff, but that's how they stagger the tournaments. D3 goes, then a week later the D2 National Championship, a week later the D1 National Championship. Of course, at the Division II level, there is no Final Four. It's always an Elite 8, where they do 8 regions of 8 in their bracket and always send 8 schools to one site instead of the traditional 64 teams down to 32, 16, 8, and then a Final Four. So it'd be kind of cool to see the national championships all held together this year, but it will also be sort of a change in the way that things are bracketed coming up in a few months. And obviously that's a long way away, but not really.
Right.
Hard to believe it, right?
Exactly. And the one thing with the layoff, too, which will be interesting to see is, with that 2-week layoff that you mentioned, it'll be interesting to see in the aspect of sometimes that can make the guys a little bit rusty. At the same time, also, if a team's banged up, has some injuries, it gives them some time to get the guys back and healthy.
Craig Sowers puts it in. So there's your D3 basketball educational lesson for the evening. Back to the action on the floor. This is kind of a hybrid lineup compared to what we saw in the first half as Soba puts it in. Nara, Soba, Sabula, Quiring, and Mazzio, the 5 out there for Tom Heil and Brian Schmidt and company. Phil Cookta, Brad Robinson, assistants as well. Haven't really talked much about them yet. That should be, oh my goodness, I thought that was an offensive foul. Hamrick extended the forearm into Michael Quiring's chin, but Q gets hit for his 3rd personal.
I do want to mention how Tom Heil's subbing. It's very different to how it was in the first half, and I like to see that first half, first game, really do the 5 in, 5 out, get the guys comfortable in the game and quick switching, and now you're seeing different combinations of guys. It's working through who works well together and really figuring that out for the future, and I think that's a good decision because first they got comfortable in the first half, and now it's a matter of seeing who plays best together.
This is Khalil Wilson dumping it underneath. Sowers lobs up top. Derek White Jr. from the elbow with that shot clock expiring, had to let it fly. Rebound for Zulbo's in there now with Snyder, Dimitrievs, Nara, and Soba. 14:50 and counting. It is 58-36. Baldwin Wallace has never trailed and has always been in control of this game as Nara goes to the bucket for two. Good try by White. Better defense, though, from Snyder. Hip for hip with him the whole way. Alex Nara banging around, turns, wanted to score, but got fouled. Called against Wilson, the sophomore out of Pittsburgh.
And for the Bison, I'm a little surprised to see Bethany College really going with White. I know that he's being the aggressor right now, but we saw Hamrick, especially later on in the first half, he was really taking control, and right now he hasn't touched the ball too much in the last couple minutes. Dalton
Hamrick was far and away the best player in the first half. Drew Silva with a thunderous slam gets the fans on their feet.
And that's exactly what Silva can do, is he's the big man on the team.
Cocked it back and rocked the rim. Three ball miss from the right side. Brown couldn't connect. Style points starting to matter a little bit for the Flare. Oh, good find. Nara says, I want to get involved. His teammates are going to let him have it. Tom Heil laughing and shaking his head. And the offensive foul on a bad screen.
And that's one where Silva just threw down a thunderous dunk, and Nara says that I want some of that as well. He goes up for the dunk. He just didn't get high enough and caught the rim and got rejected there.
Silva out, Nara stays in. Ty Colombo took Drew Silva's spot on the floor. Well, for the Yellow Jackets, they recognize that there's always a chance, as Dmitriev's tried the three and missed it. There's always a chance that the second-place team in the OAC could get an at-large bid. Good three ball, right wing, Nishan Brown. His triple try is good, 62-39. So it's not always about trying to win the tournament. Obviously, that's the ultimate goal, and that gets you the AQ. Zalba at the rim, you betcha. One more.
And that's a play from Zalba as he went in, he took the contact, and really, as he flipped it up, was able to grab it off the backboard and put it up himself. That's a great hustle play and an awareness to be able to grab it and put it back up and in.
Well, the reason I bring that up is because the OAC this year looks like it could be a really, really good league. Mount Union, the preseason favorite, and frankly, probably for good reason. They got a Division I transfer, and Mount Union is expected to be a very good basketball team here in the 2019-2020 season. They made it to the tournament championship last year after the tri-championship at the regular season a year ago. Expectations are sky high again for Marietta, who made it to the Elite Eight last year. Zalba back down the right side and back to the free throw line.
And that's just one of those things where you mentioned Mount Union, and obviously the Yellow Jackets won that championship game, but that was a physical, hard-fought game. It was close the entire time, so it wasn't like the Yellow Jackets went in there and just completely blew them out of the water. That wasn't the case. It was about as close as you can get for a championship game, and you'd expect Mount Union to be just as good this year, if not even better. And Marietta, you can always expect them to be a quality team. So, like you said, this conference is going to be tough. The Yellow Jackets are a good team. They've got a lot of guys returning, but it's going to be a hard road to get back to the NCAA tournament.
Mount Union, Marietta, John Carroll's supposed to have a really good team now that they're healthy this year. I think a lot of people are excited about what's going on down with Casey Hunt's group in Wilmington. Lob into the low post, did not find anybody. Of course, Capital is always well coached by Damon Goodwin. The question is, can they overcome the loss of reigning OAC Player of the Year Austin Schreck? Capital probably lost more than anybody else to graduation last year. But the Crusaders are always a good team. Even Muskingum, who last year didn't have a great year, was still really tough to beat in OAC play. In the paint, mishandled, and it's starting to get away from Bethany here.
Yeah, I mean, all the teams in the conference, I mean, Otterbein had their struggles, but aside from that, really all the teams had some good pieces, had some quality. I mean, Ohio Northern, they had Bruns as well. Of course, they don't have him now, but he was a dominant big. I mean, all these teams have very different playing styles, but they're all great basketball teams.
Bruns is playing over in Spain right now professionally. He was a borderline unstoppable force. Ohio Northern, the only team last year that really made you scratch your head. No idea how they struggled the way they did last year after they nearly won the conference 2 years ago.
Right.
Had a couple key injuries, but they still had a darn good team. It just didn't work for them. Anara comes out of the game. It's Dimitrievs, Schaefer, Snyder, Colombo, and Zalba. Hamrick and Wilson, the two guards. I guess Derek White Jr. is in there as a guard as well. Colombo cleans up the miss. Well done. Khalil Wilson and Trent Uphold round out the 5 on the floor for the men in green. 69-41. Crossover from Derek White Jr. Skipped across here. Uphold back to White. Underneath. That's a good athletic play, but got to finish those. Colombo pulls it in.
And despite not finishing, you do have to give Derek White some credit in the sense of he's really played a different second half than the first half. He's come out, he's been aggressive. He's really been the aggressor for Bethany, and if he can continue that for the season, it'll be good for him. He just has to get his shots to go in.
Jackets at the 100-point mark twice last year. They're on pace to do it tonight. Hamrick on the right wing. Shimmies and drives, denied. Swinging around left side, Carter Adams. It's a good effort. Not enough, though.
And that, again, just shows the defense from the Yellow Jackets as it looked like there was a path to the hoop, and Dimitrievs was able to slide in front, get his hands up, and they really haven't let anything be easy for Bethany so far in this game.
Derek White Jr. underneath to Hamrick. Schaefer pulled it out of his hands, but was standing out of bounds when he did. All right, so a couple subs for BW. Mazzio, Quiring, Schaefer, Colombo, and Sabula all out on the floor. That one got scooped up. Here comes Schaefer. Through the line, down the lane, up and in.
Talk about being aggressive, and that's been Luke Schaefer all day. He's been looking for his shot, and he's put up some pretty good numbers so far in this first game.
Yellow Jacket lead is 30. It's 71-41. We apologize for the live stats not working here this evening, working on getting those fixed. But it seems like they're lagging behind a little bit. Hopefully we can get those updated for you, certainly post-game, but we're working on that in the meantime. I think that might have hit the top of the backboard. No, they're actually saying a foul.
And that's one of those situations where a little bit of a bailout there for Bethany for sure, because if the foul was not called, that one would have been out of bounds, because you were right, that was off the top of the backboard.
Well, the Jackets know they are going to get tested right out of the gates in OAC play. 2 weeks from tonight, the Marietta Pioneers coming to town. It'll be the 5th game of the year for BW. And while they might be starting with an opponent here in Bethany who didn't have a great year last year and is not projected to be in the upper echelon of the PAC this year, their road game's coming up next week at Westminster, who made it to the PAC championship last year. And at Hobart, who's another good team out of New York, Sebula's three in as well. Those are a couple of big non-conference games before the Yellow Jackets gear up for Ohio Athletic Conference action. Sebula's three makes it 74-41 with 8:38 and counting. Mazzio, great defense, pulls it in. Schaefer on a weird bounce pass. He got his shot off. Might have been partially deflected. Derek White Jr. on the rebound. That's a double dribble.
And that's one of those early season issues that you often see. I mean, Bethany, they have had 2 games prior, but it is still early. And, sometimes you have the needless issues there as that double dribble. I don't think White even realized that he did that. He got called, and Yellow Jackets get the ball back pretty easily off of a Bethany mistake.
All right. Sebula dumps it into the backcourt. Sebula, Jack Listowski for the first time tonight. Drew Silva, Mazzio, and Quiring. Listowski gave it to Sebula, who put in another three-pointer. 77-41 with 8 minutes to play. Baldwin Wallace blowing out the Bison. Silva rejects the shot as Brown went to the rim. I think Listowski grabbed it while he was standing out of bounds.
I believe so. Now Sebula on the offensive end. Not only was that back-to-back three-pointers for him, back-to-back nothing but nets. Sebula was right on line there off of his threes, and the Yellow Jackets really doing a good job sharing the rock, moving the ball around.
Last year, the final score in this game down at Bethany on December 30th was 83-57. Well, BW is on a little bit better trajectory tonight. Yikes. Furlong missed the rim entirely on that three. It certainly has been a fun opening night for the Brown and Gold. Still 7.5 minutes to go as Quiring's pass to Silva was corralled just before he got to the end line there. Couldn't put it in, though. Deshaun Brown. Near side now, and Giannis Bekadimos. They're going to switch on him. Giannis pulls up. Had good touch on it. Quiring wants to run. Sebula, spot three. Oh, he did it again! Zach Sebula can't miss!
He's feeling it right now.
That's 3 threes this half for the terrific senior guard out of Brunswick. Mazzio called for the foul. You know, the other thing that helps too, it helps guys like Mazzio and Snyder, who are freshmen that have seen some pretty significant minutes so far tonight. Helps those guys relax a little bit because they feel like they don't have to carry a big load. They've got other guys they can just work on getting the ball to, pick their spots.
Yeah, and that's the best thing about non-conference games. I know, most sports, pretty much all, have those non-conference games to start the schedule, and that's for a purpose, and part of that is because once you get into conference, obviously, that really is important into getting into the tournament. It's nice just to be able to get the young guys minutes and get them experience and get to play with their older teammates as well, rather before they get straight into the conference games.
Zalba, Listowski, Dimitrievs, Snyder, and Nara. 5 for BW here. Good move by Listowski. Back. Zalba goes back up top. Jack wants a three. Got a good rhythm shot. Tom Heil clapping his hands together. Liked the ball rotation in the two-man game there. What does Jalen Best Payton have in store? 3 points. 80-44. 6 minutes to play.
I think it's safe to say the Yellow Jackets will pass their scoring numbers from last year versus Bethany.
They're practically at that margin already. Question is, can they get to the 100-point mark? Again, we apologize for not having any stats to bring you this evening, but Certainly has been a good shooting night, and I can tell you with confidence the Yellow Jackets are shooting the ball on the game at least 50%. They were 53% in the first half, and they have lit it up here in the second half. Anytime you shoot it that well, it's going to be hard to stop this team. They love to let it go from deep. Hit 15 threes in last year's game against Bethany, and it's something of a normality for this team. Boy, that's such a good effort. Dmitriev's was just barely too late.
Well, it's been a thing for this team for the last couple of years. They've really been a team that's lived or died by the three. So certainly if they're having games where they're a little bit cold from three, it's going to be a lower scoring game, and they're going to really have to rely on their defense to create some offense. But when it's going, it is going, and this team is hard to beat when they knock down threes.
3 to shoot it. I don't think they knew it. Shot clock violation on the Bison. And Nick Hager, head coach of Bethany College, has been sitting on the bench for a bit here, and I think he looks just a little frustrated. His team has not been able to play at the same pace that Baldwin Wallace has gone tonight. That was a crafty effort. Snyder stayed with it. Jack Snyder over the front of the rim. Wow. Jake Snyder, extremely well done.
Yeah, I really thought that was going to be a kickball violation as it hit off of the foot of the Bethany defender, but it wasn't. Ball came back to Snyder, and he made something happen.
Perhaps tried to make it too fancy a play the first time around, but stuck with it. Got it back. 5 to shoot here. That's a nice pull-up, Jay. Eshawn Brown, 3 of them. Actually, they're going to say his foot was on the line. It's 84-46. Lostowski going to stay on this end. Just 4 minutes and 23 seconds left in regulation. All Baldwin Wallace. Coverage of tonight's game brought to you by, the Cleveland Clinic Sports Health Division, the official healthcare provider for Baldwin Wallace Athletics. Nara got it to go. By American International, if you require a company with proven performance, rely on American International. And by the the Courtyard by Marriott and Town Place Suites in Middleburg Heights. It looks like one of the Yellow Jackets reached in, although I'm not entirely sure who.
They gave it to Lostowski, and I think the situation there was as he reached in, tried to grab the ball, he got more of the arm, but you saw number 13, Jalen Best-Payton, he was really grasping on to Lostowski's arm, and they almost got tangled up there for a good minute. So kind of questionable of what was actually going to be the call there, but Lostowski gets hit with the foul.
Free throw up and good, and it's a 1-and-1 here. Nothing but net. Little accidental contact, but Jalen Best-Payton, they got cracked in the jaw on the way by there. All right, 86-48. Alex Nara. Wow, what a play.
That's a great move from Nara's little hop step, went to the left hand. I mean, that's outstanding as he just spun off of that right shoulder.
Well, the Yellow Jackets are a little foul happy tonight. Maybe that's the only downside. Troy Massa checks into the game, and Baldwin Wallace is also bringing on another new face, freshman Samson Albert, a young man from Revere High School down in the greater Akron area. Gets his first opportunity as a Yellow Jacket with just 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. That free throw makes it 88-49. Jalen Best-Payton, junior from Waldorf, Maryland, has come on and give Bethany a decent little spark here in the second half. Hits both those free throws, 4 for 4 from the line.
Best-Payton has given a little bit of a spark, and that's really what Bethany's needed. They just need a spark of some kind, because in the first half it was really Hamrick, and second half they need to find somebody. And you saw the aggression from White, and really driving to the hoop. He just wasn't able to get much to go.
Left corner three from Brendan Riggs. That was not exactly what he had in mind. Albert. Oh, yeah! Samson Albert brings the bench and the crowd to their feet.
Yeah, and again, another bounce pass from Jake Snyder, and that was put right in the path of Albert. And, it was a great finish from Albert to see that, but also then the connection with a fellow freshman guard and Snyder, and you continue to see that vision from Snyder today.
Quentin Farron and Logan Newman both checking in for the Jackets. A couple of third-year juniors for BW. Newman from St. Thomas Aquinas High School down in Canton, and Quentin Farron by way of Normandy High School in Seven Hills. Also spent a year at St. Ignatius High School. 91-50, Albert completes a three-point play. That's one way to announce your presence. Craig Sowers. 91-50, 2.5 minutes to play. Jalen Best-Payton throws up a brick. It's ahead to Listowski, and he has it blocked by Best-Payton. Look at Albert following up the play. Man, this team is fun to watch tonight.
Absolutely, and Albert with the hustle play. And, as you said, he introduced himself now with a couple buckets. And not only that, but he's wearing the number 2 jersey, and Jay Battle was wearing that last year, and Battle was a known scorer, and Albert showing that he can score as well.
Jake Elbin checking in for Baldwin Wallace. Listowski heads back to the bench. Elbin, a two-way star for the Jackets on both the tennis court and the hard court here during basketball season. Final 2:13 in regulation. This has been some kind of debut. Baldwin Wallace by 43 points over Bethany in their first game since dropping out of the second round in the NCAA tournament last year. Left corner, it's a Logan Newman triple. No, Elbin grabs the rebound, but apparently fouls the Bison in the process.
That's unfortunate from Elbin, but that was a great hustle play to get in there and try to grab the board. Yeah, as you see, these guys are out there, they're getting their time, they're getting a chance, and they continue to hustle. And, I've been impressed with the ball movement still with these guys. Sometimes you see guys come off the bench, they try to hoist up shots, but they continue to move the ball and run the offense.
2 shots for Jalen Best-Payton. Continues to be perfect from the free throw line. Again, Friday night, 7 o'clock against Hiram. We'll have play-by-play coverage streaming right here live for you on BWYellowJackets.com. Baldwin Wallace and Hiram, it'll be game 2 of the 2019-2020 season. Troy Massa. Farron out of control down the lane. They're going to say he was gathering to shoot, though. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but I do know that he was fouled from behind off of that reach around, and I do think the contact from behind kind of pushed him forward and made him stumble into the defender. But a good call from the officials, at least on the standpoint of knowing that the foul happened on that initial reach in from behind.
Well, Farron is only playing in his 9th career game, and he has not really been to the free throw line very often. He is a .500 free throw shooter in his career. And misfires there. Quentin Farron, 1 of 3 now from the line in his career, and 1 of 3 from the floor. Just hasn't had a chance to get out there very often for BW. This is both of those a little long. Oh, sweet no-look pass. Elbin from Massa, 95-52. Lobbed into the paint. Samson Albert going after it. Stays with Bethany.
Do you think these guys won 100 points tonight? It's looking like it.
I'll tell you what, I think this group that usually doesn't see much time is playing with a lot of energy and heart. Sowers, no. Farron gives to Albert. 95-52. Massa shoots a left corner three. Missed it. Farron grabs the offensive miss. Q goes up top. Albert steps into it. Long rebound. Came right back out to Bethany. Carter Adams started the initial run up the floor. Boy, Sowers has to find a way and finish that. Final minute, 93-52. A one-handed sweet find, and it rolled off the side of the rim. Best Payton fouled.
Yeah, and Elvin on the offensive end, you know he wanted that with the right hand, and that's one of those where just not quite the right spin and just fell off of the front of the rim. That one was pretty close there.
Jalen Best Payton puts the first one in. Boy, this has been a really nice season opener. Jackets will be feeling mighty good after game number one as they try to build on the rest of the season. Shot clock and game clock have about a 10-second difference here. The Jackets do have to shoot. 25 seconds to play. Albert with 8 on the shot clock. Beat Best Payton. Tried to take it himself and missed it. Sowers the rebound. Final 8 seconds of regulation. Rejected at the rim, and that's going to do it. What a way to start the year. 95-53, the Yellow Jacket winner. Hard to pick a individual star of the game, given the way everybody contributed. Zach Sabula shot the lights out here in the second half. Luke Schaefer looked good in the first half. But it was a true team victory for BW.
Yeah, and you said it. It's one of those things where they came out here, they played a great team game. It was all around. I mean, it's hard to pick out who was the standout guy because at different points, different guys were knocking down the shots, and they all played great on the defensive end. It's just an outstanding team win in that first home opener, the opening game.
So the Yellow Jackets go to 1-0 on the season and get ready for Hiram. Quick turnaround. They'll have Hiram on Friday night at 7 o'clock. For Cole McDaniel and our entire production crew, I'm Brendan Gulick. Good night from Berea, where the Yellow Jackets with an emphatic 42-point season opening win here on BWYellowJackets.com. Good night, everybody.